All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is officially time to talk about the internal struggle that's happening in the mainstream gaming industry right now. And it seems to be happening with Ubisoft. And from what I hear and what I understand, talking to different people in the industry right now, it seems like Ubisoft is by far one of the worst companies that is infected with the DEI nonsense that we're seeing on full display. Apparently, there was just been a recent leak of an internal Ubisoft document that was spread out to employees, essentially quadrupling down, not singly, not doubly, not triple, quadrupling down on DEI and essentially telling their employees to not talk about this, otherwise there's going to be repercussions.
What will you learn? That your actions
Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, is that too shocking for anybody to hear that Ubisoft is going to quadruple down and essentially try to silence discourse that's happening in their company right now? Let's be real. They don't want people to be talking about this because when people talk about this, that leads to discussions that could probably change points of view. That leads to people being taken out of echo chambers. That leads to the lack of indoctrination, let's just say, with their employees. And they absolutely, when they do these DEI nonsense things, they want to control the narrative. They want to control their employees, and they're going to do everything to maintain that status quo. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push this out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says alleged internal Ubisoft document declares that representation is part of our DNA, and it firmly stands for diversity and inclusion. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you got to imagine when things like this happen, right? They want to pretend as if nobody cares. It's a small issue and nobody's going to be talking about this, right? If you were to have a discussion with somebody in the mainstream gaming industry who works for some PR or something like that, they would try to convince you that none of this matters and it's not a big deal and it'll never be a big deal. But the funny thing is, it is a big deal. It absolutely is, and it always has been a big deal. And when these conflicts happen, the workplaces definitely are joining in on that conflict. Not everybody in the mainstream gaming industry is a woke psychopath. Yes, a lot of them are, but not all of them are. There are some people there, and it's probably one of the people who leaked this stuff, to be honest with you. There are people in the mainstream gaming industry that are trying to fight back. They are trying to get their voice heard, and they are trying to do anything they can to try to help the cause. It says an alleged internal Ubisoft document declares that representation is part of our DNA and that the company firmly stands for diversity and inclusion. This alleged document was shared to social media by YouTuber The Quartering. The document begins, first, we want to make it very clear that we do not accept hate, harassment, and other forms of abuse in any way, and we are deeply saddened to see the negativity and hatred currently spreading on our co-workers' personal profiles and on our and our partners' social media platforms. It continues, we are proud to represent the diversity and inclusion that exists in society as part of our everyday work. Representation is part of our DNA, and we will remain that way regardless of external pressure or influences. Next, the document instructs if you are exposed or to witness any negative behaviors towards your colleagues online, do not hesitate to reach out to your manager, Arcade HR, or the communications team. We are here to help. Should a situation escalate to a point where you feel unsafe, please contact the Ubisoft Security and Risk Management. SRM has the team of dedicated staff to manage security concerns. They will assess the severity of the situation and provide personalized guidance. As always, report immediate and sever personal safety concerns to your local emergency number. So they're thinking that the discourse is getting so bad within the company that they're even telling people, hey, if it gets really that bad, call 911. That's basically like call 911. Don't worry about HR. Just go straight to the cops at that point. That's how bad they think it's getting. Now imagine if you think that it's going to get that bad in your workplace, that means that you must believe, or at least you must know, that you have either indoctrinated people so hard to the point where words can now cause them physical violence, or you fear that the echo chamber might get so imbalanced, so destroyed, that it's going to make people just lose their fucking minds, essentially. It's going to make people go crazy in the workplace by hearing a difference of opinion. That's how much of an echo chamber there is right now, that they don't want people talking about this in the workplace because it might cause violence. That's insane to me. That level of echo chamber is wild. I could never live in something like that. It would drive me insane to know that I just can't. I just can't. I don't even want to think about it. It says, given the current polarization of the topic online, we believe that having a respectful and constructive dialogue is difficult. Is it? Is it really just because the two sides are polarizing and just because there's two very different opinions on the matter that you can't have a constructive dialogue? Really? That goes to show that you think that your employees are children. You think that they are insane. You think they're incapable of handling their emotions, which, listen, you might be right. You might be absolutely right. But then that brings up a whole nother conversation. If you think this is the case, if you genuinely believe that your employees are incapable of handling their own, then what are you doing? Like, clearly you must be indoctrinating them. You must be creating this echo chamber, this fake safe space that the moment something even remotely threatens it, they're going to lead to physical violence. They can't have constructive dialogue. Really? That's the level of employee you've been hiring and nurturing over at Ubisoft, and it all kind of goes hand in hand, right? From what I'm hearing about Ubisoft and from what I'm seeing in this letter, it all goes hand in hand. It says, if not impossible to achieve, in this context, we ask that you not engage in or interact with these conversations, as this could worsen the situation for yourself, our teams, and our industry peers. You can also set your accounts to private and or turn off private messages from people who are not in your list of trusted friends. Do this across all your social accounts, even if you are only receiving unwelcome messages on certain platforms. So this would explain why so many people in the mainstream gaming industry right now have put their account on private. Even people who were not in the discussion, even people who are not getting openly called out by people on our side, they still went private. All these people went private. There's community managers that have gone private and nobody's even mentioned their name publicly for any specific reason. So they're all preemptively doing this, and it seems like this is purposeful now at this point. And again, guys, imagine being in a place where you have to be in an echo chamber. They say that you cannot engage or interact with these conversations, as this could worsen the situation for yourself or your team members. Imagine that. You can't handle difference of opinion. It's going to make things bad for you at the workplace if you hear something other than the status quo. Then it says the portion of the document shared by the quartering concludes, Ubisoft firmly stands for diversity and inclusion in our workplace and in our games, and we believe that there is no room for hate in gaming. You're right, there is no room. So why are you in here? Why are you in here? You guys are the most divisive people in the entire industry, clearly, and you're the ones that are filled with so much hate that the moment you hear a difference of opinion, you want to attack people. That's the level of your resolve right now. It says it's unclear what this document is in response to, as Ubisoft has embroiled themselves in numerous controversies. Back at the end of January, the company's director of subscriptions, Philippe Tremblay, told Games Industry, one of the things we saw is that gamers are used to, a little bit like DVD, having and owning their games. Yeah, this is the idiot that told people that you need to be comfortable not owning your games. Now, the full context of what he said would not piss people off that much, but ultimately, the entire premise of it, from start to finish, I am not for, and I've always said that there should be a physical alternative for most media if it's available for people who want to be collectors, people who want to have that physical media. But the problem is, even with physical media now, look what happened with The Crew. You could have the disc, you could have the physical media, but guess what? If the game is killed off, you still can't play it. So it really doesn't matter anyway, other than for collecting itself. It says, this appeared to be a bald-faced lie as the company completely shut down The Crew. It announced back in December in a blog post today, The Crew 1, including all its editions and virtual currency packs, will be delisted from all online stores. The game will remain playable until March 31st, 2024 for all The Crew 1 owners. After this date, the servers will be shut down, which means that the game will not be accessible anymore on any platform at all. That's fucking crazy. And again, that's what I was talking about before. It's a big, big problem when it comes to digital media, and we need to have the laws catch up to what these companies are doing, because they are actively getting away with this shit because they know that they can. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.